Hello there. This video, my name's Milan, by the way. Welcome to my channel. This is going to be a video in which I talk about how I went about modifying an Icelandic sweater, a Lopi sweater, to be knit from the neck down. Traditionally, Lopi sweaters or Icelandic sweaters are made from the bottom up. So you knit the body, then you knit the sleeves, and you attach them and work the yoke. This, for me, came about when I was traveling in Iceland with my son and my sister, and I wanted to knit my son a sweater while we were traveling. I wanted him to be able to try it on to make sure I got, the right chest measurements, the right arm length, the right body length. And to me, this was, the easiest way to do that. But when I tried to search here on YouTube a video that guided you through the process of doing that, I could not find one. So when I got home, I decided I was going to make my own video. And that is after I knit my second Icelandic sweater for my sister, and I made it the traditional way. And I found that there was a lot of bulk in the underarms. I ended up grafting mine, and I found there was just a lot of fabric under the arms. So I'm gonna go through how I reverse engineer an Icelandic sweater, and I'm gonna be using this pattern, which is available for free on their website. So you can go ahead and download this if you are so inclined. It's got the charts in the back. And if you're interested in knitting an Icelandic sweater, but you want to make it from the top down, now you'll be able to. So my biggest issue was figuring out how to work the chart backwards. And I found that a little bit mind-blowing, but I'm like, somebody surely has made a video on how to do this, because we live in a in a world where most people like to knit top-down sweaters because they're the easiest to manage, they're the easiest to try on, there's no seaming. It's the bomb. So here is the second one I'm working on right now, top down. So let me see if I can hold it up a little bit better. There we go. Oh, so you can get an idea of the design. This is a paid for pattern, so I won't be talking about this, but I just wanted to show you how that's working out. We should probably start at the beginning. If you find this kind of intimidating, like I did at first, and I've been knitting a long time and I knit a ton of sweaters, but for some reason, reversing this whole traditional type sweater was really intimidating to me. So I'm hoping that this video is going to make this less intimidating for you. So the first place we're going to start, I don't know if you're going to want to write out your pattern, but if you do, pause this video, go get a notepad and a pencil or a pen, and let's get moving. We're going to start by looking at the whole pattern, right? So we essentially need to start at the neckband because we're going to be working kind of this way, right? So figuring out all your sizes, all your colors. This one has a ton of colors. The one I'm working on right now only has 3. So we're going to start at the neckband, and we're going to use the smallest size needles, and we're going to cast on the end amount of stitches. So in this one, it looks like we're going to end up with 80 stitches around the neck here. I just read this little section really fast here. Work knit 1, purl 1 rib for 3 inches, and then bind off loosely. So it shows that you should have between 74 and 80 stitches. So if I wanted to make the biggest size, we'll just go for the biggest size because it's easy to find. We're going to cast on 80 stitches. And then as you move down, or up, I guess, you're going to see that it says to decrease evenly to end up with 80. So the number that we had to decrease, we now have to increase. So we're going to cast on 80 stitches, work our ribbing, and then we're going to increase for the men's size. We'll say we have to increase 34 stitches across that last round. So I usually just do a knit round in the ribbon color and increase all my stitches. In this one, I even did an extra round just to even it out, because when you increase, sometimes it looks weird. If you started the color work right away, it would probably look a bit odd. So I have the Knit Evenly app on my phone. So you can pick in the round, increase. So you're gonna start with 80 stitches. I wanna increase by 34 stitches to end up with like this many stitches. So it's gonna tell you how to do that step by step, and you can increase those stitches. So then we're gonna do the ribbing, we're gonna do our increases. So we're ready here, and we're gonna go over to the yoke part. So join body and sleeves and follow whatever chart, because this one has a couple of different charts. So we're gonna either do this one only has fewer colors, this one has more colors. So we're gonna take that chart. I would probably blow this up so that I could see it better. Most of my patterns I download electronically and I load up in my iBooks, and then you can write up on them, you can make it bigger. I like to use like the highlight feature for the rows I've done. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna blow this up, either a paper copy or on your iPad, your computer, whatever device you use, and we're going to flip it. So we're gonna start obviously over here. And what I struggled with the most is that I was not sure where to do my increases here. I didn't know if I needed to do it on this row or if I needed to do it on this row. So I ended up knitting a little bit and doing it wrong. And then I had to rip it out because I was like, this is not working. So what I ended up figuring out is that even though this row says to decrease, you're increasing on the row where you see the stitch appear. So I was, you're doing one stitch here, but then, you're increasing right here. So if we were working across this row, I would knit one here, increase one right here. And then these are no stitches. Knit one, knit one, knit one. Looks like we're increasing one right here. And then knit 3 here, increase 1 here, knit 1, 2, 3 here, increase 1 here, and then knit 1. So that's gonna form your first increase. So don't forget that. If you're looking at this, don't forget that first one, because you're gonna be really off on your stitches. So you're gonna work this whole chart in that way, increasing when you see the new stitch show up here and here. So in this pattern, it shows like a knit 2 together and an SSK, but for us, it doesn't super matter. If you're picky about it, you can do a make one right and a make one left if you want them to lean in the same direction. So after that, look at your pattern again. So we've got the yoke done now, and we're gonna have, most of them, the Icelandic patterns have, this is how many this is how many stitches you're gonna end up with. So after your last increase, which is up here, you're gonna end up having 304 stitches for this one. So every time there's a decrease here, you'll have that amount of stitches in between here. So when you're doing your increase here, look at the number down here to give you the amount of stitches you're supposed to have. Okay, so now we're gonna look at the sleeve. So if we look at this pattern, it has you knit knit the whole sleeve, and you end up, for the largest size, I'm using the largest size because it's the easiest, we end up with 80 stitches. But then it tells you to put 16 of those stitches on hold for the underarm, which I think is kind of a lot, but that's just me. And we'll end up with 64 stitches. All right, so what I would do next for the sleeve placement is I would count half, because we have the beginning of round marker over here. So we're gonna put these sleeve stitches on hold, and then we're gonna have the halfway point here so that we can put the next set of sleeve stitches on hold here. So I would count half your stitches, put a stitch marker so that it ends up being here. And then, because I don't think 16 inches or 16 stitches is necessary for the underarm, I'm going to make it 12 stitches instead. So I'm going to, from the beginning of round marker, I'm gonna put 68 stitches on hold. So put them on a barber cord, on a piece of waste yarn, on a spare needle, whatever's your preference. Then I'm gonna knit to the next stitch marker, so to the other half. And then I'm gonna put the next 68 stitches on hold for the second sleeve. And then knit back to my first hole. I'm gonna add those 12 stitches like I would normally for a top-down sweater. So I'm gonna work out, you know, cast on 12 stitches, backward loop, or whatever your preference is, and then just work down the body. Editing Milan here. I just wanted to mention that if you were planning to do short rows for lifting of the back of your sweater, you're gonna have to insert them here. So after the color work for the body, do a few short rows back and forth just to lift the back of your sweater a little bit. Then there's going to be another little chart here. So don't forget that you need to flip that over to do it backwards as well. There shouldn't be any decreases here because it's just like a little color band at the bottom of the sleeves and the waist. Some people will omit that. I think on this one, I'll do it. I didn't do it on my son's sweater just because I didn't think he would like it, but also make sure that your color work is not too tight. And then at the bottom of the waist, there's probably going to be an increase because sometimes there are. So the body, it just says cast on 208, 1x1 ribbing for 1.5 inches, change to the bigger needles and work in pattern for chart 1. So this one doesn't have a decrease for the waistband. But if you prefer like a cinched waistband, then absolutely just decrease out. I think the magic number I've heard is 20%. So if you have 200 stitches, then decrease out 40 stitches over evenly between the last color band and the start of your ribbing. And then do your ribbing and that's it. I'm pretty sure that is all. I was editing this video and I realized that I completely forgot to talk about the sleeves, which in itself can be a little bit intimidating. So in this pattern, I'm gonna use again the large size. We're casting on 46 stitches to do the arm ribbing, the sleeve ribbing. Then we're adding, where is it? 2 stitches right before we start the color chart. So we're working our ribbing, 1 plain round, increasing 2 so that we're at 48 stitches, and then we're gonna work the chart. And then after that, we're doing the increases if we were working from the cuff up and ending up with 80 stitches. So we're gonna reverse that, right? We have now 68 stitches on our needle, or on hold. So we're gonna pick up those 68 stitches. Then we're gonna pick up under the arm the 12 stitches that we had on hold. So now we have 80. Then we're going to decrease every 6th round on this pattern, because it says increase every 6th round 16 times. In our case, we're gonna decrease 2 stitches, so one at the beginning, one at the end, like you normally would, every 6th round 16 times. Then we're gonna end up with 48 stitches. We're gonna work the color chart. When we're done the color chart, we're gonna decrease those 2 extra stitches right before we start the ribbing. Don't forget to change needles. Then with the remaining 46, we're just gonna work our ribbing. So hopefully that helps. A little trick that I use when I'm decreasing for sleeves or increasing for sleeve, whatever the case is, I mark the increases or decreases as I go so I can just count them really easy. I don't have to worry about counting my stitches. And when I get to the bottom, then I should have the number of stitches I'm aiming for, which in this case is 48. So hope that helps. Back to the regular episode. It was so bloody intimidating when I first started thinking about it that I just like, oh my God, how am I gonna do this? I tried to write it out in detail, and then I realized it's not that complicated. If you've knit top-down sweaters before and you have a pretty good idea what you're doing there, then you can figure this out. The only way this gets complicated is some of these Icelandic sweaters, like the one I made for my sister and like the one I plan to make for myself, is that the color work carries into this part of the sweater. So you have to make sure that your stuff aligns here when you're doing it. So I made my sister's from the bottom up, and I'm going to make mine from the top down. So anyway, hope that was helpful. If you found the video helpful, give it a like. If you have any questions that you think I might be able to help you with, please leave them in the comments and I will answer them as quickly as I can and as best I can. And if I don't know the answer, I will try to find it for you. Okay? Take care. Oh, go make something. Go make an Icelandic sweater and don't sweat it. It's not a big deal. It's knitting. You can rip it out anytime.